Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to take a look into the very near future. We are pulling apart the huge technological and regulatory shifts that are really going to define the year 2026. And trust me, it is shaping up to be one heck of a pivotal moment.
Our source material really drills down on this one powerful idea. If you think of 2025 as the year of wild breakthroughs, like inventing some revolutionary new engine, then 2026 is the year of systems. It's about actually building the car around that engine, paving the roads, and writing the traffic laws so it can go somewhere useful. This is the year technology gets real.
All right, so here's the game plan. First, we'll dig into what this year of systems thing really means. Then, we'll cover the brand new rules of the road for AI. After that, we're going to look at how we're paving the data highway with some mind-blowing storage tech. Next up, how intelligence comes to life with biocomputing. Then we'll check out the engines of the future that are going to power all this. And finally, we'll tie it all together as we are leaving the test track for good. So, this analogy is absolutely central to understanding 2026. Think of 2025 like a prototype car on a closed test track, just showing off raw speed and potential. But 2026? That's the year the car has to merge onto the public highway. It's got to deal with traffic, follow the rules, and have an engine that's reliable and efficient enough for the real world. Okay, first up, the new rules of the road. You know that kind of Wild West era of AI development we've been in? Well, it's officially coming to an end because some very serious new laws are finally kicking in.
And this is where it gets really concrete. We're not talking about vague suggestions anymore. We've got hard deadlines. On February 1st in the US, Colorado's new law targeting algorithmic discrimination goes live. Then, come August 2nd, the massive EU AI Act becomes the law of the land across Europe. The clock is definitely ticking.
And what's fascinating is you can see two totally different philosophies at play here. The EU is going broad, really comprehensive, demanding transparency and documentation for pretty much any AI system out there. Meanwhile, the US approach, at least starting in Colorado, is much more targeted. It's laser-focused on one thing: stopping algorithmic bias in its tracks.
Now, this is a fundamental change in how we think about this stuff. Regulators aren't just going to be asking, hey, does your AI work anymore? No, they're going to be asking, can you prove how you built it? How did you test it? How did you fix it when it was wrong? Companies are going to have to show their work.
So all this complex AI, with all its new rules, it runs on one thing: just massive, unbelievable amounts of data. And that means we need better roads, a better highway for all that data traffic, which brings us right to our next section: paving the data highway. Now, for anyone who hasn't heard of this, DNA data storage is every bit as futuristic as it sounds. We're literally talking about a way to encode digital data, all the ones and zeros that make up your files, onto synthetic DNA molecules. And the payoff? It's huge. You get unbelievable storage density and stability that can last for literally centuries.
And get this is not a lab experiment anymore. By 2026, we're seeing companies launch actual commercial services. You've got Iridia, which is targeting that niche but super important market for cold data. Think long-term archives for things like healthcare records. And then you have BioMemory, which is swinging for the fences, trying to disrupt traditional data centers altogether.
And just look at this number: 100 petabytes. That's what BioMemory is aiming for with its first product. To give you some perspective, that is like recording 13 straight years of HD video without stopping. It's a mind-boggling amount of information in a tiny, tiny package.
And you know what follows big innovation, right? The money. The market for DNA data storage is set to hit a major inflection point in 2026, blowing past $283 million. I mean, that's nearly doubling in just 1 year. It's a massive signal that this technology is absolutely ready for prime time.
So, we've seen how biology can help solve our data storage problem, but what if we could use it to solve our computing problems too? Well, that takes us to our next section: Intelligence Comes to Life, where we're going to look at the incredible maturation of synthetic biological intelligence. Yeah, biocomputing.
Okay, this is where things get really, really wild. Wetware as a service. You know how you can rent server space in the cloud? Well, this is a model where developers can rent processing time on biological computers. I'm talking about real, living neural cultures. And why on earth would they do that? Well, because these living systems can learn and adapt in ways that our silicon chips just can't.
So what does this actually mean for you and me? Well, here's a perfect example of a life-saving application.
In 2026, the big focus is shifting to clinical reality. Imagine using these incredibly powerful biological computers to analyze your personal genetic code to predict your individual risk for diseases. We are talking about a whole new era of personalized medicine.
But of course, this kind of power raises some profound and, frankly, pretty tricky ethical questions. As these neurocultures learn, as they grow, the industry itself is starting to ask, what are our moral obligations here? Figuring that out is going to be a huge priority in 2026.
So, all of these incredible systems, the regulated AI, the molecular storage, the wetware, they all have one thing in common. They need powerful and, crucially, efficient engines. And that brings us to the hardware and a major showdown between two types of processors, GPUs and TPUs.
This chart breaks it down perfectly. For years, GPUs have been the versatile workhorse, right? Good at a lot of things. But for the gigantic, non-stop workloads of modern AI, specialized hardware like Google's Tensor Processing Units, or TPUs, are built for one thing and one thing only: squeezing out every last drop of performance per watt. It's all about efficiency at scale.
And here's the bottom line for businesses. This chart says it all. For the right kind of AI job, switching to TPUs can give you up to 4 times better cost per dollar. In 2026, that kind of efficiency isn't just a nice-to-have, it's an absolute strategic necessity.
All right, let's pull all of this together. It's time to bring it all back to our main theme, leaving the test track and finally assembling the systems of 2026.
This shows you exactly how all the pieces we've just talked about snap together. The AI and biotech breakthroughs, those are the high-performance vehicles. The new regulations, like the EU AI Act, those are the rules of the road. The DNA data storage, that's the brand new infrastructure. And the specialized hardware, the TPUs and biological computers, those are the efficient new engines built for the long haul.
So if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. 2026 is not about just one more shiny new invention. It's the year that all these powerful technologies stop being cool experiments and start getting woven into the very systems that run our world, our healthcare, our data, our economy. This is the moment it all starts to get very, very real.
Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. The rule books are being written, the highways are being paved, and the engines are firing up. The systems of 2026 are coming online, for sure. The only real question left is, are we ready for the traffic?